Hi twirlers and twirling enthusiasts, this is Coach Jessica Hopper. In this video, I'm going to discuss with you some ways of stretching your wrists, fingers, and how to perfect your baton twirling tricks and dance moves. Let's get started. In order to stretch our wrists, we're going to set our baton down for a moment and get both our wrists warmed up for a good practice. First of all, what you want to do is straighten your arms, get both wrists out, and we are going to flex our wrists by pointing them down, and then we're going to extend our wrists by pulling them up and trying to get your fingers pointed back to your shoulders. Feel that stretch. And we're going to roll our wrists down into a fist, like we're going to punch ourselves in the stomach, so we get a good flexion. And then we're going to roll them back up, stretch our fingers back towards our shoulders. Feel that stretch by extending our wrists upwards. We're going to roll our wrists back down to flex them and stretch them by extending them upwards, rolling them down, and we're going to interlace our fingers, and we're just going to roll our wrists for a few seconds, and then both directions. We can take our fingers and stretch them by putting your pointer finger and your thumb in between each finger and just giving them a good stretch. This will help with all your finger rolls. Another way to help build the muscles in your fingers would be to get some Play-Doh or some putty, stretch and curl your fingers, and then we're going to grab our baton and do some supination by twisting up and some pronation by twisting down. This helps with your range of motion of your wrist. Pass the baton and do some supination and pronation of our wrist, while your thumb is pointed to the ball of the baton. Okay, now that we've stretched our wrists and our fingers, I'm going to talk to you about some ways that I use to help me practice my baton tricks and dance moves. The first thing I like to do is grab a notebook or a study book and write down each baton twirl that I have learned in order that I've learned them, and each foot position that I've learned, and each dance step that I've learned. When I get my list finished, then I'm going to write down how many sets of 4 or 8 that I'm going to do to help myself get better at that particular twirl. So, for instance, if I learned how to stir the pot to get to my horizontal spin, I would write that down. I would do my stretches. I would get my baton and I would start in whichever hand you feel comfortable starting with, and I would do 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I would pass the baton to my other hand, and And I would do the same thing in the same direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you can reverse the direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pass it and do it in the reverse direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once you've completed however many sets that you feel you need to accomplish perfecting that twirl, then you can move on to the next one. If you're just starting out twirling, I would suggest doing 4 sets of 4 in each hand until you get comfortable with the feel of your wrist and your fingers and the way the baton is balanced in your hand. Then once you are able to do it faster and more precise, you can do more repetitions and increase those and get your strength and your poise perfected. Then you can also practice doing different passes to both hands in between each twirl. Once you do this, you can start working on your dance moves, such as the different foot positions that we acquire from ballet and some jazz dance steps to do, and also marching, practicing how high to raise your knee and to point your toes when you march. Practice keeping your free hand with your Barbie fingers, and your arms should be straight when they're extended. They shouldn't be broken. So you practice those things as well when you practice each day on your baton. And starting out, I would say if you do about 4 sets of 4 each hand, each twirl, then you shouldn't be doing more than about 20 to 30 minutes of practice. So this will give you a good idea of what it's like to practice for recreational twirling and routines and different things like parades and recitals, and also help give you the determination to work towards potentially competing in local and regional and national competitions, and potentially even international competitions. We just had international competitions in Liverpool, England, and now it's time to focus on twirling for local performances and the end of the year Christmas parades. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Keep stretching each body part that you use when you practice. Wrist is a very big body part when it comes to twirling, and don't forget to practice both arms. One arm might be a lot easier to do the twirl than the other arm, but if you give each side the same attention, eventually you'll be able to get better at your twirls and your passes and your dance moves. So keep it up and make it shine, and I'll see you in the next video.